way through. You remember the books we had on disc? And then we had books on CD-ROM, and some of that is still around. But most of the attention the last many years in West for legal education has been on the research piece, and properly so. Because research is not only a piece of what we're supposed to be doing, but is beneath everything that we do in our professional lives, and to some extent our personal lives as well. So there's been a large focus on Westlaw, making it more widely available, making it fuller and richer and easier to use. So there's not a day that goes by that I don't come to Westlaw.com now. I've got the software, proprietary software that I still use, but now I'm using West online more and more, almost exclusively. And I use it not just because the databases are widening there, but also because of the functionality that's being added to this that allows me to put my individuality into it. I use West Clips. In fact, if you can, I don't know if you're under I don't know what password you're using. But with West Clips, I have West Clips that I've been running for years. And I ran them under Westmate, and they translated perfectly over to the web. A number of books that I have constantly being updated through WestClip searches. And now it's so functional. I don't know if you use this or not. A lot of people don't, surprisingly. But for faculty, it's wonderful because you can put these searches out there, and that thing will look for all your own head notes that you have created and will actually email the results to you. Not just that there's something there, but the results themselves will be sent through email, whatever. I have a long list of these that I use. And now you must have a different, using a different password than the one I ordinarily use. This is the one my dean always sees. He never sees all the searches. But also with KeySight. And this morning we were in a session where Shelly mentioned the S word, and I've never, and that's a wonderful grand concept. I remember, I'm old enough to remember those days, having that huge library table filled with little red books, and you go from a quick one to another 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 one. And of course now that has been automated. KeySight, now a competing service, doing the same thing, and whether one is better than another is up for you. I'm a West consultant. I use KeySight, but KeySight, its functionality now has been enhanced even more. So using KeySight Alert, I can put in specific cases that I want West to watch for me. And I have got a number of cases, one in particular that I've been watching recently, dealing with due process rights of debtors who are taxpayers who are dealing with the IRS, which is a particular interest to me right now. And it will alert me. And all of that is making more law available to me, much more easily, adding functionality. It allows me more time to think and add the value that is me. And West is committed to doing more and more of that. This morning session, where the new Westlaw.com was introduced, and I don't know if you weren't there this morning for that site, there is a beta site that is available, which is web3.westlaw.com. Is that it? Is that the one? And that's the new Westlaw with incredible, really not just refinements, but incredible functionalities that more than ever mirror the way we as lawyers and as law professionals think about and doing research, and makes it even easier for that essential value of ourselves to come through. Several years ago, West started focusing on the teaching part of our job. Research, wonderful. Teaching part itself took a step beyond the books and the CD-ROMs and went online through the West Education Network, which did start out as a notes-based, but now it's completely web-based. There aren't any discs at all, much less 14 of those discs. At least with TWIM, you don't need 3,000 RAM to run it. Any browsers is going to do it. And this is going to get into now what has been the TWIM site. This is the hardest part about Twin, of course, is getting the Westlaw password. I promise you, having done 8 million demonstrations, nobody ever knows. It's the librarian who has it, or someone down in the computer room that's got it. And this is kind of the present iteration of Twin.com, where I have my courses here that I have created. If you scroll down, this is the one I guess I most recently used, which is payment and credit systems. These are various areas, folders within it. And I'm skirting over this now because this afternoon, in a later session, Joel is going to focus on the West Education Network itself. I'm going to go to something a little broader than that in just a few minutes. But this is certainly a piece of this. But this is the side that I used. Here is essentially the course book that I used. I have a commercial paper casebook that West publishes. It's a fairly recent copyright. I didn't use it last year when I taught commercial paper. I had my course up online in this form, at a syllabus, exciting the students to this. And I began teaching commercial paper by having the students deal with the case of pawnbroker, where a thief had stolen a couple of speakers. We went and sold them at a pawn shop or hawked them there, and then they were resold. And then I've got links to the National Pawnbrokers Association out on the web. I've got links to the Washington Post. I've got links to all kinds of West material, West database material. I did that document in Word. It is a Windows version of Word. My own word processor that I'm familiar with. Did that thing, put the cases in there with the sites, and then simply uploaded it to my Twin course. And automatically, all of those law sites and any other material in Westlaw, including the Washington Post, are automatically linked, automatically, and translated into HTML. And this is what the students see. Well, so the students come here, they are linked. In this case, with this actually goes to the PIN server. Take a specific second. Actually linked. Someday this will go away. Actually linked back over to Westlaw. All the material is there. There are various other features and functionalities with respect to Twin. And after this afternoon, we'll look more deeply into each of those. But the point is, here is a focus we've had for years on faculty research and using Westlaw. And that wonderful service has been enhanced to make research easier for us, to lower that threshold, that time that you can't spend just thinking and putting your own peculiar twist on it. And then West got interested in working on the education phase much more extensive than it has, especially online, to kind of go along with. And the whole idea of the West Education Network in the very start was that it would be married with Westlaw. And they're essentially just one more functionality. You see it as a whole. And now with respect to, with Westlaw, I have all this functionality. With Twin, I can focus on my teaching and use it. And what I can do is I can link my own ideas much more directly and quickly and easily to the content, which I as a teacher find extraordinarily valuable. And that's what we're trying to do with casebooks, in essence, is try to, we choose a casebook, we choose a certain organization of that casebook, which cases we're going to use, and we're trying to get our students connected with content we think is important. This is a next step through Twin. It's a next step also in the sense of having your students discuss their ideas online and being able to connect those discussions to your own casebooks online, to cases you want to cite the students to. So it's simply a progression until finally, and the very fact that it was Gerald Johnson who was here is a huge signal, because last year it wasn't Gerald Johnson talking about Twin. It was the law school division talking about Twin. Twin now is not distinct from Westlaw. Gerald is an big executive with Westlaw, and it is under his domain. Very big. Very big. Has a reserved parking place and all. So structurally, when Gerald is telling you that West is committed, they have made the strategic decision. And it is shown by the fact that it's now moved under Westlaw. And it is part of that strategic initiative. And that's something that those of us who've been working for Twin have been. So if there's any big news to come out of West at this conference, I think it's the new Westlaw that we saw this morning that you ought to take a look at. And it is that Twin is now under the care of Gerald Johnson, who's mucking him up with Westlaw. And they have taken now, that was the first step, to give it to Gerald. To give it to Gerald. Not because Oliveri was doing a bad job. He wasn't. But it had a limited focus. It was just, seen along with casebooks and whatever. But now they see it's part of this larger whole and this progression. And it's now all come together in one. And what's the official rollout date?
August 2nd will be the rollout.
August the 2nd. Be available to everyone, will be advertised, is lawschool.westlaw.com. It has all been merged. You've got law school becoming part of Westlaw as seamless as a seamless whole, and we can go to that now. And this is it. This is not the new face of Twin. It is an entirely new face. It is a hybrid of Westlaw and the West Education Network for students and for faculty. This is the place that students and faculty in the fall from now on will come to get to West. And it's not to get to Westlaw. It's not to get to Twin. It's not to get to the Law School Department or Foundation. It is to get to West, and particularly to West Online, which is all one whole. And everything that supports Westlaw, which is more money than you and I got, now supports Twin fully. And they're not having to make any money on Twin. It's part of the whole. So it's free, part of the package, with all of those enormous resources of Westlaw behind it, under the very skillful management of Gerald Johnson. That's the big news for those of us who have been in legal education for a long time. That tells us a great deal. So what faculty and students will do is come to this site, lawschool.westlaw.com. And at this point, we're going to branch off. If you're a student, you'll go off in one direction, and Justin Hummel will talk about that in just a minute. If you're a faculty, you'll go off in another direction to have your own site. And what I want you to do is to create your own homepage. So you really never need to go to that page we just saw again. You go to that page once, and if you want to create your own West homepage, then you can. And here is mine already up. Joe, again, this afternoon will show you some ways to fancy up this in Twin as well. Over here on the right-hand, Westlaw Research. So this is the homepage for Steve Nichols and the kind of things that I'm doing, which begin with teaching and research. Now, there are ways, of course, to get outside of West, and that's for all that red area we saw in the beginning, that 75% of your time which is wasted. You can still get out. Yes, sir?
Can you take your microphone off?
Oh, I'm sorry. Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Sorry. You should have raised your hand earlier. Yes, ma'am.
Do you have a homepage for your university that then links to this?
Yes, and that's what's so wonderful about it. In fact, this morning people were asking questions about Westlaw and the new iteration, and the answer almost every time was yes. And it's the same thing with this. The answer is yes. As you'll see again this afternoon when Joe gets into Twin, you can create homepages for your own courses that are on West, but your law school server, if they've got a list of courses online, can link to that site, even for folks who don't have passwords into West. Now, to get into them and to do anything, you're going to have passwords. But those front pages that Joe will show you can have your picture, you can have sound, you can have text that explains the course, So your faculty create these things in their offices with just a click of a button or two. But if you've got your server either in-house or offloaded, you've got a list of those kinds of courses, then the whole world can get to it without having to go and sign on Westlaw and do all that. You link directly into the course homepage. This is my homepage for what I do inside. I don't open this to the world. This is for me, and this is where I collect the tools that I want to use with West Online, of which Westlaw is a part, of which the West Education is a part. They're all simply one and the same. I can get to westlaw.com over here, and go back to that and work just within that. I can go to my course tools, and you'll see the nomenclature is changing. And here's research up here, here's teaching down here. This is what law faculty do for the most part, and then all that other meetings and wasted times. But in terms of getting raises and satisfying various responsibilities and doings, West is going to address that just as directly as it can to once again try to bring as much as you want available to the faculty member, information and services to make them easy to use, make them integrated. This morning, you had Don Hayden from West told us that the new goal at West, and I hadn't heard this, but it's perfectly consistent. The new overall goal is to allow users to integrate West content and functionality into their world. And that's perfect. I didn't hear that till this morning, but that's perfectly consistent with what we've been trying to do with Westlaw and with the West Education Network. To take it, to customize it, the things you need can get to quickly, can get to routinely, can get to reliably, save time so you can add that enormous value that is the individual intellect to this, the way it's put together. That's the value. And it's that value in cultivating that value, I swear to God, I really believe that's why we need Wake Forest and Tulane and Oregons, as well as we need Harvards and Yales and Stanford. It is that diversity that makes the law important, I think. We've got to maintain that, and these tools do this. Now, what I can do is we'll go into the West Education Network in a minute, but on this page, which again I can customize in all sorts of ways, very, very easily. We'll show you how to do a little bit of that. Beginning at the top with Westlaw course resources, and this will be something that will be available for students as well. Students will be able to go in, or faculty will go in and put what courses they are interested in, or actually the software may read from faculty when she indicates the courses she's teaching, the subject matter. And you get a list of these topics that if you click behind that topic will show you all sorts of West Online materials that are relevant to that subject. So instead of having to go out and remember where this is and that is, you'll get a list automatically that will show you, based upon the subject matter, of all sorts of primary and secondary materials that are available to you online through this lawschool.westlaw.com. It can be done manually. It can sense automatically as well. The author forums is a way to deal with cross-media. West, as it was said this morning, has been said several times today, is going to continue publishing books. And we have to continue publishing books as long as my mother's alive. Because she likes seeing my name in gold leaf on those khaki brown covers. She's not nearly as impressed with disk or a website or URL or something such as that. So West is going to keep putting out books. But books are going to become part of, and are becoming part of, a larger course package that West and Foundation authors are going to be selling. So now you can get a book, you buy a book, and you can get in the teacher's manuals. In this case, do we have, I think it's another, and Joel Friedman's teacher's manual on there. All the Western Foundations. When a Western Foundation author has indicated that he or she wants an author's forum, then her book will be added here. You don't have to do this. And it can be, then the teacher's manual will be put up online. There'll be various other functionalities with it. So here we have employment discrimination. We have the teacher's manual that is online. And
We haven't put anything in. This is
It's because
Here's the
it was
author.
it was created with mine. It's a long story.
okay, it's a long story, so it's not there. But back up. But you get the idea. The teacher's manual, there are lots of teacher manuals there, and more. When this first started years ago, this was before Twin 2. The first teacher's manual actually put up as a database on Westlaw. And it was hard to find them and all of that, so it really has progressed. And now it's becoming almost a matter of routine. Under the author forms, let's go under customize. Let's look behind that. And what can we add? Is Joel's course there as well?
Mike, I'm not sure it'll work.
under foundation.
Under Foundation Press? I'm trying to plug it, Joel, as best I can. Just that he's here to ask questions if you have any questions about how it was made.
You all won't see this page because your password doesn't bother with this.
So here's the author format, and here we've got not just the teacher's manual, that's part of it. If all you want teacher's manual, that's fine. But if an author for West or Foundation wants to, they can add other online functionalities that accompany the book. General discussion, supplements. This is where Joe is updating. And Joe, how often are you updating through online?
It can be every month. It just depends how we do it. I'm not sure when this is going to show up. We may have to show the supplement. But there it is.
There it is. So here's supplement. He did it in Word. And again, this was something he did. Authors do. They type the thing up. They use word processors. But now what you do is you simply upload it. The author does it. She uses Word or WordPerfect or OmniPro, whatever it is, and simply uploads it to this form, and there it is. It's available for those who are using her books. And more West and Foundation authors are finding more ways to use online as supplements to various other forms of their materials. To the far extreme of someone like me who's got my book, quote, book, is simply entirely online. And there, when I supplement, I'm changing the thing itself. And we're going to see a lot of varieties, but it's for the faculty. It's for the faculty member, first, who is writing these books, and then to add the functionalities they want. And then for faculty members to be their own publishers through this. The book I showed you of mine, the payment systems book, they didn't run through authors at West or Foundation. I didn't get their permission to write that thing and put it up there and make it available to the world. I simply did it and uploaded it to my page. And West has nothing whatsoever to do with this page. They don't make profit. They're not going to sell your materials. They don't own any of those materials at all. It's all yours. Now, if later you want to try to distribute this through whatever system, cut your own deal with them. But in terms of what you do with this is all yours, and the content remains all yours. What you add and how you want to use. So this is one model where Joe is using this to supplement his hard copy book. You see my model where I'm simply using this as a way to distribute a totally online version of my materials, which are up to date every semester. I don't issue a supplement for it. I go in there and make the changes directly in the materials themselves. But let's go on back and show some of the other functionalities. The idea is, and this was the idea of faculty members, is that we have our page. And everybody uses the term portal. I don't see this as a portal or any of that at all, or you could use it as that. I do see it as kind of my desktop at work, because now what I'm able to do at work is either at home or at the office. When I get up and I'm doing law school work, either teaching or research, then I've got all the tools that I need, beginning with Westlaw for research and now West Education Network, with many enhancements that Joe will talk about in the next hour, focusing in on that. But on this page, I have added my Westcliff directory, my KeySite alert, various other kinds of functionalities that I want, and links that I want for my research and kind of things that I do, that I can get to the information and then can immediately go to my course tools, go to the West Education Network. And if KeySite Alert finds for me a new case where Smith v. Jones has been overruled, it's going to alert me immediately to that fact. I'm sitting here working on some of that red stuff, that meetings or other wasted time. My computer's sitting over here next to me. It's out there watching Smith versus Jones, which is a principal case in my online materials. And all of a sudden I get a ding, and it tells me that that case has been reversed. Do you want to see it? And I can see it right then. And then all I have to do is to go into my course, open up the page, again using whatever native word processor you've been using, and strike the case that's been overruled and put in the new, or add some subsequent history. It makes law much more widely, easily available to me, and cuts down for me as a teacher the time and effort that it takes to get that to my students. And I think this is the best part of it. It is the ease of integrating the content with the value that I peculiarly bring and you peculiarly bring as a teacher. Putting your own spin and twist and idea and intellectual value and putting that to the students. And at the same time, the students using this being able to respond with similar sets of tools. And I'd like for Justin Hummel to explain to you now, just to go back to the page. There are some various other things that are available on the other side. Some for law faculty. For instance, if you want a free copy of the book, now you don't have to track anybody down and punch a button. You can order a complimentary copy. If you want to know who your Westlaw representative is, it will read what school you're from, and there'll be a button that will automatically put you in touch with your West representative at your law school. Those kinds of things that are being added. But also there's some things that are being added for the students, primarily for the students in some of their interests. They get all of this. They get the end product of all of this that you're putting together for them, but there are also some features and some enhancements that Justin, I'll introduce, has been working with Twin now for several years and really is the principal architect behind lawschool.westlaw.com. Gerald, we all know, is in charge of everything, but the one who really did the work is Justin Hummel. And he decided, since he was going to have to work with me and Friedman, we'd carve this up. And to a large extent, Joan and I'd focus on faculty with Jevony, and Justin would focus more on students. But he's the principal architect behind it. And he's going to take the last few minutes and show you what
I just want to take 30 seconds, Steve, to point out two other things on this page. Just scroll down just a little bit. While it's true at the top you can go to westlaw.com and do your Westlaw research, part of what we try to do here to make everything accessible on this screen, some of the very basic Westlaw operations that you don't need to enter into Westlaw to do a search. You got it right here. You can find a case, by just typing the citation. You type the citation, hit boom, you get the case. Same thing with KeyCite. So right here you can do some very basic research from this page without having to go into Westlaw. In addition, Steve mentioned KeyCite Alert. My guess is some people don't know what that is. Let me give you 20 seconds on that. KeyCite, you understand what that is. KeyCite Alert is you type in the site of a case you want to know about, and from now till you tell it to stop, anytime a new case cites your case so that it would be on KeyCite for that case, you will get an email, if you want, from West saying, the case or cases you put on the alert has now been cited in another place. It's in this place, and if you want to find that case, boom, click on this text, and it will open up Westlaw. It will open to that case that is now a new case citing the case that you've been trying to watch over time. And I think that's a pretty cool thing. We don't have to show how it works, but that's the concept. Just one other thing over here, a lot of this stuff is for students, but if you scroll down, again, just to get everybody here, and again, August 2, this is available, so we're still going to make some enhancements. Request free copies, that's very important, because what else the Foundation of West Forest not to give us free copies? You can do that online. You can deal with your book rep. There'll also be one here for your Westlaw rep, so you can contact directly your Westlaw rep through here. And we thought that was important. Some of this other stuff is more for students. But again, the whole idea was to put everything here. Everything is West on this one page, so you don't have to scurry around.
Including putting your favorite databases out there. You don't have to go to Westlaw and do your favorites. If you want to put your favorite, in that case, I teach bankruptcy in real life. And so I've got a bankruptcy database for all bankruptcy cases. You put it out there on the page. So again, it's the whole idea of now West Education Network and Westlaw all being seamless. One is a part of the other, depending upon how you approach it. So the West Education Network, this page can become a front end for both of them. And I can customize this and have it all there on my screen all day long, both for research, for the few minutes I have for research and the few minutes I have for teaching.
Well, thank you. I won't speak as eloquently as the two professors, but I'm just as excited as they are, and I hope that you guys share our excitement after you get to use it. If not, it's fine. I think it's a wonderful tool. I want to go through some of the things that we have for students, including the links into West Education Network. But let's just take a look at the Westlaw research up here. We can go into, say, database updates or Westlaw features, for example. Let's go into Westlaw features. For students, we realize there's a lot of pieces out there for Westlaw, for the West Education. And it's tough to find one place to find all that information and get all that information easily. And this is what we're trying to do on this page and trying to accomplish. Here we've got tours of each of our services, key site alert, westlaw.com. These will be continually updated as those changes are made on Westlaw. And let's go back into news and legal highlights then. So these sorts of things, see what we've done, we've just pulled all these areas out of Westlaw and made it easier for the students and for faculty to navigate throughout our services. Announcements from faculty will be here. If we go back to our home page, we've also integrated, and I'm not sure if this is common knowledge or not, but we have signed an agreement with Attorney Jobs Online, which we now have as our career services partner. Attorney Jobs Online has been offered to law schools over the last 20 years through the law libraries and through the career service offices as a print publication. Now it's available online where you can look for jobs, judicial clerkships openings, and things of that nature. So we're trying to find all those things which are important to students, good grades, good jobs, of course the classroom offerings, and bringing those all together in one easy-to-use interface. We could go through the rest of them. I just want to know if there's any questions. Do you have any questions at all about the site, what you heard from Joel or Steve?
I have a question about just directly this. It's something, we talk about Facebooks, and I remember in past CALI conferences there was a lot of focus on electronic Facebooks. How popular have those become? Are people really using them? It used to be had a lot of million discs, and obviously you're now making those Facebooks available over the net.
Right.
Have they really taken off?
We did have the Law School Solutions, which I believe had about 33 different titles available in a premise format. Did anybody use those besides you? They were not widely popular and fairly expensive to upgrade. And I don't think they were done in the best way, so we're looking at other ways to do that and present that sort of material. And we realize that this is a medium for that sort of thing. So, down the line.
Let me give you another answer to that. They were a failure. Okay? I say that as someone who had one of the first casebooks that was in ebook form. And why was it a failure? Because it didn't do anything. It was the same two-dimensional book on a diskette. Yes, it was in digital form, and they could cut and paste, and they could do a little bit of searching, but it was a waste. So what we're trying to come up with, and what I'm in particular trying to come up with in a new book that I'm working on, and I think the West Education Network may be the way that we deliver this, is to make something three-dimensional, value-added that you can't get in a two-dimensional book. That takes advantage of what the web can do. Maybe it's interactive questionings for diagnostic purposes. Maybe it's video clips. I don't know exactly. Maybe it's a combination of things. I'm trying to figure out what I want to do and see if it will work in a first-year course in civil procedure where I'm trying to produce materials and see where it goes thereafter. But I think that's the future, taking advantage as a supplement to the two, not as a substitute, as a supplement to the two-dimensional book, some kind of three-dimensional web-delivered component that will engage the student in an interactive way and in a visual way, which will help them, will deal with those students who learn other than just by reading text.
And then you've got old-fashioned teachers like me. We're not interested in that. I agree that the e-books were a flop. Whether you got one pre-done or you used a printer photo to create what you want. And that's mainly because of delivery. Most law faculty just aren't going to invest the time. We'll do it. I mean, we created those books. But faculty just aren't. It's not because they're bad people. They got all that red time out there, meetings and other stuff that they've got to do. They're just not going to invest the time. We clearly learned that. What this allows you to do, though, I think, is very easy to first of all, to be current, to add currency. Putting aside three-dimensional interactive, that's great. Some faculty want that. Joel's going to do it. It's going to be fantastic. He can then add on to his hard copy book, cross-media sort of things. For folks like me, I see the currency of this claims. That we can use these, in effect, smart agents that I can immediately send out to my students who are part of this. And all I have to know is how to use the web and Westlaw, which I do, and also my word processor. All of these materials that Joel and I are putting together that are online, we didn't use Folio or Premise. We used our word processor, whether it was version 6 or whatever it is, just as all faculty are doing. And pushed a button, as Joe will show you this afternoon, and that sucker is up there online with the links automatically done. You don't even have to remember the acronym HTML. I just say that. It's there. The students don't need any proprietary software. The faculty don't need proprietary software. They can reach it from anywhere in the world. And you can see you can upload now PowerPoint presentations. You can upload sound and just all kinds of stuff very, very simply, easily, and reliably without any taxing of the local infrastructure at all.
Yes.
Yes. When I look at this page, it looks a little confusing to me. So what I would like to see is the actual course page and what the functionality is within the actual course page.
From 4 to 5, that's what I'm going to do. From 4 to 5 p.m., I'm going to focus exclusively on the West Education Network, the courses, the page, how to create them, how to use them, what they look like.
What the different functionalities
all
are.
All of that, and much, much more. News at 11.
I'm sorry. Over here? Yes?
Suppose that I feel that my students aren't going to read all the string of citations that might appear in the note to my materials. I don't want those automatically linked anyway. It'll just create too much glare. Do I have, I'm sure you're going to tell me, yes, there's a way I can.
Yes,
there's a way to control that.
You have the option to have it not link at all. So when it's uploaded, there won't be any links that are made.
Okay, and then there's something else.
Scroll, look.
I guess it's all, I think.
So you're looking for something a little more specific where you can go in and pick based upon a particular type of citation or something like that?
Well, I might have one case that I think really is worth looking at.
The way to do that, and I've done that too, I like these as you see that sometimes the cases are all of them in the case. And the way to do that is sometimes I'll download a few cases and edit and put them back up. You can turn on this feature, don't automatically link, but if you're using WordPerfect or Word or one of those, you can build in an HTML behind it to Westlaw in effect, and then read that. And that's the way I've done it.
But there's also an easier way for guys like me who don't know how to do that. What you do is you keep that unclicked so it doesn't automatically mark anything. And any site that you want to have marked 386 US 1, all you do is you put 2 brackets in front of the text. And at the end of that text, 386 US 1. And you do that to any site. And those brackets tell Westlaw's computers, create a link to this site. So that's what you'd have to do. If you have 100 sites and you want 20 linked, it's an all or nothing automatically, then you'd have to do it manually.
But that's not yours.
That's not a big deal.
Yes.
But not as impressive.
Some of the students don't have an ISP from home, and we don't require them to get one. So if they're at home and they want to access your webpage, does West plan to provide some kind of dial-up access?
No. No.
The thinking there, same thing with Wake. I mean, Wake used to provide dial-up access for all the students, but it's gotten so inexpensive now compared to the cost of the institution doing it. There's no way it works.
The majority of law schools now are not providing ISP to the majority of universities now are no longer in the ISP business. But the overwhelming majority of students at those law schools have paid AOL or somebody else for access, because not just for West, but for their access to their email and access to every other kind of thing. And that's just the reality of the law school world. The universities can't keep up with the demand to buy more and more modems to be ISPs. They just can't do it. And soon, I guess, very few, if any, law school universities will be providing internet access from home to faculty or students. We're all going to have to pay $20 to AOL.
We all do 2 lessons. They give us $1 to get to Alexis's webpage. You can't get anything else but you go there.
You know, we had a deal like that with MCI. We went into that, and it didn't work out for us. And we've done our most recent research that I did showed that 95% of students had their own ISP one way or another. So, you know, looking forward, it just didn't make sense for the amount of money we had to commit to getting into an ISP deal with somebody like MCI that would be reliable, and there was just a lot of problems with it. So, but we did look at that.
Yes.
I think you're going to find a lot of variations from school to school. I work at the only public law school with one of the 3 or 4 core states.
Can you speak up a little bit?
I work at the only public law school with one of the 3 or 4 core states in the country. And I guarantee you 90% of our students don't have ISPs.
Then they're going to have to access this from school. Do you have computers in the school?
Yes.
So they can't access their email or anything? They can't do any internet work at home. They can't access email they can't do anything net-based from home. Right? Because 95% of them don't have an ISP.
No, I wouldn't have said 95% of them don't. You said 95% of them do, and I was negating that. I don't think that only 5% of them do.
Oh.
He's saying not 95%.
Well, this was a sampling, very broad, and that's what the number would be. Yeah, in your case, I'm sure it could be less.
And Wake Forest is something, I mean, they do this, but don't mention $20 a month. They have some kind of deal. I mean, they get IGN and others who come in and bid, and the students can get a special package for a whole lot less than $20 a month. It's less than $10 that they pay for general web access from home. Wake doesn't provide it for them, but Wake uses muscle to cut the deal so the students can get it. Much less than $20. $8.
We're told to wrap up as quickly as possible so people have time to do whatever before the next session. So if you have questions, please come down and we'll answer those for you. But thank you very much for coming, and hope to see you forth. Thank you.